So I have just completed 10 years as a public school teacher in Washington, D.C. Don't clap, actually, because I just quit. If you're a listener of This American Life, 3 weeks ago, you heard me give my resignation on the podcast. It was a difficult decision. I hated leaving a lot of my students. I had a student when I was a very young teacher, Brian, in the middle of my lessons would conduct these very wild conversations between his thumbs, who spoke their own thumb language, like So when Ryan's mother signed up to be the chaperone of our class field trip to the zoo, I was unhappy. She gets the kids, we get to the zoo, she walks 20 steps from the entrance, she sits down next to the ice cream vending machine, plops herself down, buys herself an ice cream, announces to the 3 students that I have conservatively put in her chaperoning group, and says it's too hot to walk around the zoo today, and just eats ice cream in front of the children and won't buy them any. I find out about this when I was summoned by the zoo staff to the petting area of the zoo because my students from her group have decided to ride the goats in the petting zoo. Now look, I love my students, so I have to justify their behavior a little bit. They're boys. These are boys who have eaten all of the soap in the soap dispenser in my classroom. So like wanting to ride a totally awesome miniature horse, double unicorn pony is like the most well-behaved and normal thing that they've done this year. Look, as a parent chaperone on a school field trip, you have one job, and that is returning to the school with the same number of uninjured children that you started with. We get on the subway, the metro in D.C., the doors close, and Mrs. Hannigan, Brian's mother, says to me, Bev, I don't think I have all the kids in my class. I know I'm not supposed to make fun of the parents, but I just quit. So I said, Miss Hannigan, please count to 3 and tell me that you have all of the students in your group. After she gets to 2 and pauses, I realize we are missing a child, and of course, it's thumbs. She left her own child in the subway station on the last platform. I pull the whole class off the subway, ride back to the other one, pick him up, bring him. We get to the end of the line at the subway, get our cars out of parking. DC Metro has just instituted the Smart Trip card, and you have to pay for everything on the Smart Trip card. She's trying to get a car in the parking lot. But I don't have a Smart Trip card. I can't get my car. I said, no problem, Miss Hannigan. I'm going to give you mine, and you just get a car with that. But I don't have a Smart Trip card. Okay, thank you for restating the problem for me. Now I understand much better, so how about this solution? I'll give you mine, and then you can get out. And she said, but if that I need a Smart Trip card, I don't have. Does everyone in your family only speak thumbs? Meep, fucking meep. I'll meeping give you mine, and then you'll have. Fuck it, forget it. I bought her a Smart Trip card. I gave it to her. Get out. Mrs. Martinez, who understandably actually does not speak English, sees this transaction and comes over and asks for her Smart Trip card to get her card out. And I figure rather I can't do this conversation in English. Fine, another $10. Here's your Smart Trip card to get out. Mrs. Martinez is a responsible chaperone, so she gets $10 out of her wallet to repay me for the Smart Trip card. Unfortunately, hands it to Mrs. Hannigan, asked her to hand it back to me, and of course, Mrs. Hannigan pockets the money. Miss Hannigan, however, is not the criminal element of this story, is not the worst chaperone of this story. Because the worst parent chaperone this day got arrested. Mr. Jeffers shows up at the last minute asking to be a parent chaperone. I'm not sure we're going to let Dad, who just got out of jail, be the chaperone for a group of kids, but I tell him, sure, have a little Father-Son day with your kid. Decides it'll be super entertaining to encourage the monkeys to throw their poo at each other. Causes such a ruckus that he's escorted out by the zoo security. Turns out he has outstanding warrants and is arrested. His son has to walk by himself 10 miles from the police station home that night. It was situations and students like that that kept me in teaching and wanting to be a better teacher for kids like that. It was the adults and the parents and the administrators and the legislators that drove me out.